Facebook is enjoying a price target increase from Goldman Sachs. So is this going to hold? I'm talking to Jim Cramer about it. Jim, I was just at Facebook headquarters last week. Lots of growth going on there, lots of new hires.
And that's why Goldman bumped its price target, because the growth is there. And obviously you know that the advertising, the native advertising for them is doing very well. The trust has bought a huge amount. It's our discipline says you have to cut it back because it's become such a huge position. And we were hated when we bought it. But you were there, you know that this company has a runway that's so much bigger than every other company I deal with. I mean, obviously they've got to be pretty excited about where they are.
Well, they were excited. I saw Mark Zuckerberg speak last week, and he said, you know, they went from when their IPO went out and they had very little revenue on mobile to 40% of their revenue coming from mobile in 1 year. 1 year.
It's
so,
funny.
and he said, he goes, I couldn't believe it, and yet they have worked very hard. They know what they have to do to keep the company going. I was super impressed by him. I was super impressed by the campus. It is enormous and getting bigger because they have a whole new building going up and because they are growing so fast.
Well, I'm so glad you were there. One of the things I got involved with Facebook, both because of my kids, but also I bumped into a friend of mine who used to run a Goldman Sachs office, and I knew his son was brilliant. And he said to me, he said, listen, you don't understand, my son was the number 6 person at Facebook. This is what Goldman was like. This is like the best run company. It's like a combination of the Navy SEALs and the best guys at Goldman, the best guys from MIT, the best guys from Caltech. And we tended to think that it was just this kind of fly-by-night outfit because of the terrible IPO and because of the way Zuckerberg looks. But yes, I mean, you saw it. This is, Steve Jobs never dressed well. He didn't even put shoes on. This is the real deal, this company.
I know there was a lot of concern, and I'm still a little concerned about the youth adopting Facebook because it feels like it's definitely this is your mom's website kind of thing. But I also feel that Facebook is looking ahead and always looking ahead, and they've got their eye on the future as opposed to sitting on its laurels.
Well, it feels like Google, when they first came public, the 2 young guys didn't know what was going on. Brendan and Eric Schmidt, Sheryl Sandberg can play that role. But Google went from 200, 300, 400, 500, 600. So Google was mispriced at the beginning, and Facebook was mispriced at the beginning. Facebook too high, Google too low. But Facebook has found this equilibrium. It's interesting you can't get past this level.
Well, that's what we were going to talk about. So I know that you bought it at a pretty reasonable price.
Mid-20s.
You've enjoyed a nice gain here. So if someone is like you and they've gotten in there and they've gotten a nice gain, do they just kind of, is this a buy and hold stock, or do you take some profits?
Well, I've always found, like when we took out, like for instance, we took profits in Apple at a really great price, but it was just our discipline. That's what discipline's for. Our discipline says you got to cut back, but you got to leave a lot on. The reason you have to leave a lot on is because of the Google issue. Like maybe you've got the tiger by the tail here, and the company may be the next growth company that people want because it's accelerating revenue growth and it works on mobile. And in the native advertising's working. So Zuckerberg's done a fantastic job. I cannot believe they were able to adjust as quickly as they did. And I think the excitement that you saw is for real.
All right, well, there you have it. The excitement is for real, and it looks like Goldman's target is for real too.